In this video, I'm going to give you some tips on answering interview questions. The Tell Me About Yourself is just a brief description of who you are, your name, you're a junior in high school. You might indicate what your extracurricular activities might be and what your plans are after high school. Generally, all of these questions, you should plan on giving answers in complete sentences that would be anywhere from 3 to 5 sentences in general. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? For a lot of you, you may be finishing up your education in college and pursuing whatever career that you would like to go into. What are your strengths? This is usually a fairly easy question for students to answer. Your strengths do not always have to be academic. It's fine to discuss other talents that you may have. In general, it's good to talk about things like excellent interpersonal skills, communication skills, things like that. What are your weaknesses? This can be a little more difficult to answer. I would caution you not to be too literal. So if you're always late to everything, that's something you would not want to admit in an interview. Think about things like maybe math is not a strong point for you. When you talk about your weaknesses, talk about ways that you've worked to improve to get better. So, for example, if you did not do well in a geometry class, you learned that that was an area that you needed to go in, talk to the teacher, and get extra help. Tell me about the worst boss, coach, or teacher that you've ever had. This is a trick question. Don't ever badmouth anyone. So you can talk about how, a lot of times these sorts of problems involve a lack of communication. So you can talk about you had an experience where you learned that communication is very important on both sides, but you never want to badmouth anyone. How would others describe you? Hopefully, again, this is a chance for you to highlight some of your strengths, and hopefully, your friends, teachers are going to describe you or come up with adjectives that you would describe yourself. What sets you apart from other students? Again, focus on areas that you think are things that you think you do well. And come up with examples. So let's say you've won an award in a certain area or some sort of recognition. I would talk about those specific awards or achievements. What can I tell you about our college? So this question is you thinking up a question to ask someone. If you were sitting in front of an admissions rep, what would you want to know about a specific college or university? So a lot of times this is going to be specific questions related to internship opportunities that are available for your area of study. You might ask about study abroad programs, things like that. Who in your life has most influenced you and why? Again, this question would be asked to determine whether you recognize positive characteristics in individuals. A lot of times, your answer to this question very well could be a close family member. What will you contribute to our campus? Again, if you were interviewing for a scholarship, some form of this question may be asked. Again, just another opportunity for you to talk about your strengths, maybe things that you want to get involved in college that are an extension of things that you were involved in when you were in high school. Tell me about a challenge that you've overcome. We've all had various challenges that we've had to overcome, some more difficult than others. Um, but focus on problem solving skills. When you're asked this question, the person interviewing you is not so interested in knowing all of the gory details surrounding a challenge. What they want to hear is that you overcame the challenges and what you had to do to get there. So, again, with a lot of different tough questions like this, think about problem solving skills. What do you do for fun? Everybody is not working all the time or studying all the time. So be genuine. What is it that you like to do to relax? Does your high school record accurately reflect your effort and ability? If it does, then say so. If it doesn't, if you had a rough year, a rough semester, then be accountable to that. You don't want to make excuses. Sometimes students would potentially they were super sick during a semester. So you can acknowledge that, but you don't want to push the blame out on a teacher. If the teacher would have been better, I would have done better. So accountability is important. If you could do one thing in high school differently, what would it be? A lot of times I hear from our former students after they've left school, they wish they would have gotten involved in more clubs. Making a good first impression. Whenever you have an interview, you want to arrive on time. You want to dress appropriately. And obviously, you're going to go alone. You want to be prepared. So you want to have practice interview questions like I gave you. It's also really important to do some research. You want to appear self-confident. It's fine to be nervous. Anyone interviewing you is going to expect that you're a little nervous. Of course, you want to be courteous to every single person that you meet, from the very first person that greets you when you walk into the door and everyone along the way. Again, you want to think before you speak, and usually practicing will make this easier for you. Emphasize your strong points, like the tips I gave you in answering the interview questions. You want to be enthusiastic. You want to look for cues, sometimes body language, or it's easy to determine that someone would like you to elaborate on a specific point. Follow-up is important, whether it's for an interview for a job or for a scholarship opportunity. It reminds whoever you're interviewing with that you're interested. It's going to improve your chances, and it's also polite. So with that in mind, you should always show your appreciation with some type of thank you letter. It's also going to be at the forefront of the interviewer's mind, providing them a reminder of your qualifications and interests, either in the position, the scholarship position, or in the company or the prospective employer.